Okay, welcome everybody to our webinar on how to create a cybersecurity awareness and education program to change behaviour. Thanks for joining us. I'll just introduce myself and our speakers for today. So I'm Ed Davis. I'm a director with Turnkey in Australia. I'm based in Melbourne and been in the IT security industry for around 25 years in various roles. Including as an IT auditor, working on projects on both the client side and the consulting side, and now running Turnkey. With me today, I have the amazing Jacqueline Jane, who's the security awareness advocate for KnowBe4. Jacqueline's based in Adelaide, and she's going to share her insights with us of over 20 years of being in the IT and security space as a conduit between people and technology. She's run awareness programs and the like before. And we also have Julie Green, who's an account manager with KnowBe4 based in Melbourne, who will show us some of the highlights of the platform. So just the agenda for today. I'm going to give a brief overview of Turnkey and what it is that we do. And then Jacqueline's going to give us an overview of the Cybersecurity Awareness Program, how to set it up for success. And then Julie will give us a product demonstration showing us some of the highlights and the features of the platform. We'll have a Q&A session towards the end, so please put any questions you have into the Q&A chat and we'll answer those. And we also have a free phishing test that you'll be able to perform, and that will enable you to be able to test some of the users in your organisation to see how prone they might be towards clicking on something that they shouldn't in a phishing test. So just a little bit about Turnkey. So we're a global IT security services company. We started off 18 years ago in the UK, and we now have operations in all the main different regions, Europe, Asia Pac, Americas, and over 150 specialist staff. And traditionally we've worked in helping our clients to secure their SAP systems, although that has broadened out in the last couple of years. So we organise ourselves along three main service lines. The first of those is application security. So that's ensuring users have appropriate access to perform their job functions, but without any risks. So making sure that the correct governance processes and things are in place to stay compliant. Identity and access management. So that's all around managing the user lifecycle, automating the onboarding, offboarding, transferring processes, privileged access management, certifications of access and the like. And then the third pillar that we work across is cybersecurity. So that's things like hardening the application against cyber risks, ensuring you've got secure code, secure configuration, patchings up to date, and so on. All of those three pillars, I guess, come together to offer an end-to-end security platform for our customers. However, we recognise that these things alone are no longer enough to keep the system secure. With the traditional network perimeter gone, as more and more people are using mobile applications, working from home, the threats are always increasing. So no cybersecurity presentation would be complete without this character here. So I don't need to really tell you that the cyber threats are ever increasing. Events like what's happening in the Ukraine are resulting in increased cyber threats, as well as COVID. And there's a lot of attention in the media given to cyber attacks that are occurring. There's been several high-profile Australian companies that have recently been targeted, resulting in significant business disruption. So really, it's shifting that focus from the internal threats to the external threats, seeing as the perimeter has basically been eroded. So cyber criminals will take the path of least resistance, and I think that they've figured out, a good way to get in is through the weakest link, which is usually the user. And over 90% of cyber attacks are caused by human error. So I guess what we're trying to do here is to ensure that have you taken all of the measures that you can to help your users to protect your business. So a human firewall, if you like. So it's really about educating the users and increasing their awareness. And this is where Know Before comes in and plays a role. And we partner with Know Before. As we did our research, we realised that they're a Forrester leading company, and they're really a leader in this particular area. And we're also a customer of Know Before, so we use it ourselves internally at Turnkey to train and to test our own staff and bring up their awareness to protect themselves and our clients from the risk of cyber attacks. And the feedback that we get from the staff is that it's very intuitive, it's very fun to use, it's not like boring security training programs that existed a few years ago. So yeah, I'm excited to have Jacqueline here today, and I will now ask her to come on and talk to us a little bit more about the journey that you can go on to increase your cyber awareness. Hi JJ.
How are you, Ed? Nice to see you. Yeah, good, thank you. Doing well.
Good. What's happening in Adelaide today?
Well, not much. It's actually really nice weather. So I know we always talk about the weather here in Australia, but it's a lovely day, and I'm looking forward to sharing some pretty cool information with everyone. So yes, let me share my screen. So Ed, I'll need you to stop sharing yours, and then I'll share mine. It's all about sharing at the end of the day. All right, sharing. I had technical issues before, folks, so I'm just warning you. I'm confident it won't happen again, but if it does, these things happen. It's technology. So today's session is, I love it. It's one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. When we're looking at how to go about creating a cybersecurity awareness and education program to change behaviour, the behaviour part is often missed. It's train the people, move on. There's so much more to it, and it's not necessarily second nature to everyone in IT or those people responsible for programs like this. So what I'm going to do is talk a bit about Know Before, the threat landscape, and then take you through what you actually need to do step by step. Now, about us, we are the world's largest integrated security awareness training and simulated phishing platform. We have offices all over the world. Our head office is in Tampa, and we have an office here in Melbourne and in Singapore and Japan, and more are coming along board. We help tens of thousands of organizations manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. It's ongoing. It's a key word. I'll talk about it quite a bit in today's presentation, and we are the winner of numerous industry awards. But before we do anything else, I'd like to have a close look at the cyber threat landscape, because cybercrime is up 600% due to COVID, and that's from PurpleSec. Remote work has increased the average of the cost of a data breach by 137,000. That's a lot of money. And if you look into all of the details and all of the reports that are available, it's a very expensive exercise to become a victim of a cyber criminal group, whether that be through a breach, a hack, ransomware, or whatever it might be. And in 2020, the average time to identify a breach in the system was 207 days. That's a long time. And most people don't even realize that. And if you talk to your users and just mention that one statistic, they'll be shocked. And it's not because you guys aren't doing a tremendous job. It's because cyber criminals are just getting better at what they do, and it is harder to detect them. And The majority of cybersecurity breaches and incidents are the result of human error, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. It's not just clicking on a link. There's a whole lot of other things we need to consider. And malicious emails, phishing, is the main way cyber criminals do have success in what they do. There's so many other things we need to know about, and we'll look at this in more detail. Before we get into that, I'm just going to stop my video because I talk with my hands and I'll distract you and myself. Now, there's a few things we need to understand with human error. And firstly, it's the phishing family. Why do we need to know about the phishing family? Well, there's phishing, which is a cybercrime that targets that bulk people by bulk email. So millions of people at a time. Could also be by telephone or text message, someone posing as a legitimate institution to lure individuals to providing sensitive data, such as personal identifiable information, banking or credit card details and passwords. Then something else we need to be aware of is spear phishing. So spear phishing, unlike phishing, which is sent in bulk, is a little bit more targeted. So the cyber criminal, and you'll notice I don't call them hackers or bad guys, we call them cyber criminals because that is what they are. So these are certain individuals being targeted in an organization where they want to be able to either get in and they will perform, I suppose, more specific contact to that person. So the result of clicking on a link or opening an attachment, giving away all these details is a result of this particular phishing family member. Vishing is the next one. It's not video phishing, it is voice phishing. Now, what we see here could be a person, an actual person on the other end of the phone. It could also be a robocall, one of those recorded messages that you get instructing you to press one now or face being arrested by the end of the day by the tax department. Whatever it is, vishing has increased in its popularity with cyber criminals. Then we have smishing, which is your SMS version of phishing. Now, interestingly enough, if you haven't received one of these, no matter where you are, whether in the world you're joining us from, I want to talk to you because I'm getting dozens of these a week, whether that be confirming my details for a parcel delivery, wanting to make me check a voice message that I've missed, or a latest one, which is really fascinating, is we've captured all of your movements through your camera on your laptop. Click here to check it out. Pretty scary. All of these are designed to get you to respond in an emotional way, but this can come through your personal phone, your work phone, doesn't matter. They're just testing all the phone numbers they could possibly test. Now, if you were to engage with these things, your users have no idea of the potential outcome of that, which could be installing malicious software onto their mobile devices, which if they have anything related to company data on there or it's a company device, big problems can ensue. And a recent addition to the phishing family, I coined the phrase quishing. This one is QR code phishing. Now, curiosity was at its heightened area for the Super Bowl this year, where Coinbase did their amazing QR code bouncing around the screen. Curiosity just got the best of everyone, and so many people scanned that baby to click it. Now, that could have been anything. And marketing and advertising people globally will be adding more QR code stuff than ever before. Now, yes, we use it here in Australia for COVID check-ins and other things. It's been around for a while, but cyber criminals can very, very easily hijack QR codes to take you to a malicious website or to actually start to download software that could be malicious. So this is the phishing family is one element that you need to be able to educate your people on. Because human error, geez, there's a lot of it. And yes, you will get this pack and you will get all these resources that you can have a look at as well. Because this sometimes is a great way to emphasize that the many entry points of human error are both technical, the green side, and non-technical, the blue side. And only a few actually involve deception. All of the others, most people are unaware. So everyone thinks, oh yeah, don't click on malicious links. But what about the SMSs? What about the voice calls? What about people coming into an organization and trying to get through tailgating into a secure area? Do people actually know what tailgating is? Those of us in cyber, probably yes. Everyone else, probably no. Most of us think, well, that's someone driving really close to you on the road. Well, no, this is someone trying to get into your organization without a pass, and they use social engineering or manipulation to actually achieve that. So one of the things here Just think about that. Take a photo of that in your mind as we move through the next parts. Because what we're noticing is our customers are building a modern security stack with usually these 4 areas of security. And cyber criminals know, as Ed said, your untrained users are a potential weakest link into your network. So they are your last line of defense and can become incredibly powerful for you. Now, if we have a look at devices, I'm sure in your organizations, you're protecting them. Your network, you're doing a great job there as well, and your infrastructure. People tend to be forgotten. Now, IT have done a great job of the devices, networks, and infrastructure, and it's now that we're talking more about the people. How do we educate them? How do we bring awareness? And how do we actually change that culture in security so that when they get up and leave their desks or leave their laptop, wherever they might be, they lock it. They lock the screen, Windows L if you have a Windows device. It is not challenging, but unless you know about it, unless you know why it's important, people just won't do it because they think, oh, who's going to want to get into my machine? So these are the things we need to understand. Not one layer is more important than the other when it comes to security either. They're all important. And another thing we need to remember is no matter how good our email filters are and the people, the processes and everything you've got in place, there's going to be 10% on average of nasty phishing emails or spam that's going to end up in your end user's inbox, no matter what you do. So a strong human firewall is so critical. Now, some key questions when we come about how to educate our people. Historically, the IT department has been responsible for cybersecurity. The attack vector has increased exponentially. We're so mobile with all of our devices. Everyone now has a responsibility when it comes to cybersecurity. And how do we educate our people to understand their role in staying safe online? The proven and most effective way to educate employees about all of this is with an ongoing, relevant and engaging cybersecurity awareness and education program, not an event, not an annual event. So this is a whole organisation approach that needs executive buy-in, change management principles, training, conversation, communication, an opportunity to apply some new knowledge with simulated social engineering, like simulated phishing emails, and also bringing it to people's attention with what's in it for them. We're human. I'm not going to do anything unless I really understand what's in it for me. Of course, the caveat can be, well, if it's illegal, then I just might just not do it because I could be breaking the law. But telling people to do training in cyber without a reason just won't work. They'll just say it's IT's problem, not mine. So why can't we just make it compulsory? Well, because we're human. And because this is something, if we don't get buy-in, if we don't get understanding of why, then what's the point? It's no different than if we're parents, caregivers, if we've got pets, whatever it is. You can't just tell people don't touch that, it's hot, or sit, because there's got to be some training involved, repetition. There's just the way we learn as humans. And then why do we need a combined approach to cybersecurity? Why is it so important? There is so much information we need to share that you can't just say, okay, do this, sit down, watch this PowerPoint presentation, and we're done. There is a whole complexity in cybersecurity. And as I showed you on that human error and the different types of human error, how are you ever going to learn all of that really, really quickly? Because changing behavior takes time. And even when we're at the top of our game, we cannot remember all the things, no matter how good we are. So some observations. Training people in cybersecurity once a year will not work. Changing behavior takes time and effort, and knowledge or awareness is no longer enough. There is a need to make cybersecurity personal to anyone and everyone for any real change to occur and for that culture of cybersecurity to develop. And changing behavior is akin to integrity, where people do the right thing even when no one's watching. When your people had to all shift to work remotely, if you're in IT and you're responsible for that, did you freak out and think, oh my God, they're not going to do this because they have no idea what they're doing, and your stress levels went through the roof because they didn't have a behavior of culture or culture of behavior and security? So here are the steps, and here's how you do it. Firstly, you need to develop your program. And before anything, most of these things start with a board directive or an identified need to do something. We've got to upskill our employees. We're in danger line of a cyber attack, or there's been a government communication. So we've got to do things about this. So what do? Well, the first part is research and preparation. Now, when it comes to research and preparation, I'm going to go into it a bit more. And it also includes the first part of executive buy-in. The second element is executive buy-in part 2. This is on its own because it is critical. Without the buy-in and agreement of your execs, whether that be a board, whether that be your management team, your leadership group, whoever you refer to them in your organization, the heads of department, if you don't do this, your program will fail. Guaranteed. And the third part is launching it and managing it. They're intertwined, and I'm going to go into more detail about all of these things. And just remember one thing. You might be wanting to take notes and you might think, give me more. I'm finalizing a workbook at the moment with a lot more information about this whole process. And I encourage you to reach out to Ed if you would like to actually get it when it's finished. I'm hoping in the next week. No promises, but I'm doing my very best. Now, let's have a look in these steps in more detail. Research and preparation. So creating a program that compromises, this is ideal and this is best practice, and this is based on what I've actually done. If you get someone from HR in learning and development or organizational development, or an executive sponsor, maybe someone in IT with subject matter expertise on the subject, maybe someone in marketing, someone in communications, build a team. This is a project that's going to transition to business as usual. That's important to remember. And the things you're going to look at as you start this process is, what's your program's intent? What's its objectives? What do you actually want to do? Do you want people to stop clicking on stuff? Do you want them to report USBs found on the ground? Do you want them to lock their computers? Actually identify it. And what will success look like? So when you've done all of that, what will it actually, how will you know there's ROI? How will you know it's made a difference? Yes, you want to bring down that potential for people to click. You want that. Yes, you do. But what else do you want? Are you going to get a security awareness training platform to underpin your program? There's a lot of options out there. Yes, thank you, Ed, for saying the things you said about no before. Whatever you choose, hopefully you choose us, but whatever you choose, please do something. You need to educate your people. And what will your key messages be? Will this be about, we want to keep you safe, or we want to keep our medical customers safe, we want to keep our patients safe, we want to keep your data safe? What messages will there be? How will your program align with your organization? You probably have a strategic plan. How is it going to align with it? What about your values, your mission, your vision? All of those elements need to be intertwined with your security awareness training program. How will you report this? Who wants reports? Who wants information? What do we actually want to have a look at? Do we want to know that the fish-prone percent has dropped? Less people are clicking? Are we wanting to know they've finished their training? Are we wanting to know that they're actually coming to us with information, whatever that might be? Resources. Will you need more people? Will you maybe need some budget stuff to be considered if you're going to add some really different types of elements like mouse pads with key messagings or things like that? Don't ever laugh at those folks. People need that stuff. They love it. They love to get swag in relation to something at work, and it doesn't need to be expensive. What does an employee's month look like? How much training will they do? By the way, 15, 20 minutes a month is all you need, because it's not about every week. It's about, this is what you need to do ongoing, and people just accept that's what it needs to be. Simulated phishing templates, what will you use? Every organization has their own culture of how they go about things, that unwritten rules of how you do business within your world. What kind of phishing templates will you not allow? To say, no, we're not going down HR type templates because we've just had a whole lot of redundancies or whatever it might be. Be thoughtful, be kind about this. So if you've had a lot of issues with COVID and people are really, really scared, maybe don't use those, maybe save those for a little bit later. So have a bit of thought behind what templates you'll use if you're going to do that. And I encourage you to. Have a look at best practice. Go into Google and say security awareness programs, best practice, and see what you find. Develop a timeline. When will the program start? How long will you be doing training for? When will you revisit everything? How often will you be doing simulated phishing emails? As often as you can is probably the right answer. One a week if you could. Eventually you'll get there. It can become quite fun. Engaging the organisation. Talk to people. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. That's actually executive buy-in part 1. And communication plan. How are you going to talk to people? Newsletters, intranet page. What are you going to have? Posters? You're going to put bookmarks around for people? All that type of stuff is communication. And then expectations. How much time do I as an employee need to give to this? What's the expectations that my manager is going to have on me for this? I need to know that. Executive buy-in part 1. Without it, you will fail. This is about what does their universe look like? So you talk to different heads of departments, executive managers, leaders, whoever they are. Tell me about your world. What data have you got? What would it mean if it was stolen or breached? Do your people understand how to protect it? What's the biggest challenge you have when it comes to cybersecurity? And it could be, I don't understand it, or people don't have time to do all this stuff. Whatever it is, document it. It is so important, and I'll tell you why in a moment. In executive buy-in part 2, this is where you get agreement on all the things on this screen plus more to get them to agree and sign off before you even put everything in readiment to actually launch. So there's a whole lot of stuff here that you need to think about. All the things I just mentioned, you need agreement and sign off. And if you've done the previous step well and got information from them, it's really hard for them to disagree with you about stuff they've told you they need or they don't know. So this is where stakeholder management really comes into play, where you bring it all together, present it back. Then when you get sign off, and only then, you launch it. And launching usually that month before the rocket actually takes off, because I had to think of an analogy here, before 0, and then the rocket takes off, there's so much that actually occurs. Weather's checked, computers are checked, communication channels, safety, pyrotechnics, then the countdown commences, and then liftoff happens. So for cybersecurity, these are all the things that you want to be looking at in that month. So communicating the program out to everyone, do some benchmarking, send that first simulated phishing email out, see where you are, do some knowledge and culture assessments, incorporate the what's in it for them, give them all that stuff that you've already prepared. And after that, which is usually a 4-week process, if you do it well, then you can actually launch the program and the rocket takes off and there you go. But even then, you don't just, that's it, okay, rocket's launched, we're done. No, there's a whole lot more that goes into this. And in the program I'm talking about here, the success of a program such as this, it relies on ongoing management. And in an ideal world, you can see things here on this screen of what you potentially need to do in a month. And you might think, oh my God, that's a lot of work. If you've done all the other things well, it actually isn't. It's just continuous. It's iterative. You're changing it. You might bring in some cybersecurity safety officers, like work health safety officers, first aid officers, mental health, that type of thing. Those people will help your organization really implement a powerful program. Now, some other considerations for a successful program: never punish human error, use it as a learning opportunity. Have a look at, again, newsletters or intranet. Provide useful tools for your employees to share with their family. On the Know Before platform, we have a free home course for people to log in and just learn about cybersecurity, how to stay safe at home. Demonstrate some live hacks. People need to know what's going on. Show them the dark web and the deep web. Go have a look on YouTube. Excellent videos there. You don't have to go in it for yourself. Provide full transparency, if you could do that, on near misses or cyber attacks on your organization. And look at your own data and see, wow, we've got a whole lot of stuff that's very valuable. How do we communicate this? And focus on the data you have on each employee. When they realize it's not just customers' data at risk, their level of care will increase. Take a big deep breath and listen to this. What you are embarking on is a whole of organization change management program that results in everyone making better decisions when it comes to security, ensuring all regulatory and compliance elements are achieved, risk is reduced, and your people are a formidable human firewall, and a culture of security is created. It's utopia. However, like I've mentioned, there are a few steps, and I'm going to hand over to Julie shortly, who is going to actually demonstrate the platform. But what we offer is a complete security awareness training platform. So what you do is baseline tests, knowledge, and let's see who potentially is going to click on a phishing email simulated from the platform. Everyone does this, from the mailroom to the boardroom, everybody. Ongoing education commences every month. Engagement, communication, reinforced training with at least monthly simulated phishing email tests, if not more. Got to keep security top of everyone's mind. And it's, here where you can watch the results of the reports that are available. And I'm going to talk high level about all of this because you need to know, does this work and what does it look like? Over the right, you can see a graph of a study we did with more than 6.6 million of our users, so a big data set, which benchmarks real-world phishing results. And these results show the average pre-training, so people who have no idea, they haven't done anything yet, that launch phase, remember the rocket is about to take off, but before it does, let's see what the phish-prone percent is. So of that 6.6 million users, 31.4% clicked. After 3 months of training, that drops to 16.4%. Training, simulated, engagement, communication, and after 12 months, it drops again to 4.8%, which is pretty impressive. I'm often asked at this point, when will we get to zero? We won't. The reason we won't is we cannot predict what cyber criminals are going to do. And this is about managing the ongoing issues, reducing your risk. You can never be at zero risk, and you can never be at zero phish-prone percent. In addition to all of those things, you're reducing so many other opportunities for attacks and ransomware and data loss. And people will actually begin to understand cybersecurity is their responsibility. It's a team effort. It's a shared responsibility, and they have an important role to play. So my friends, that's it from me. I will have questions after. I am excited to be able to hand over to Julie now, who is actually going to show you the platform, and you can see how all of these things can actually happen and how we can support you. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to hand over to Julie.
Thanks, JJ. So JJ obviously mentioned that KnowBe4 are clearly leaders in this marketplace in regards to security awareness training. And the reason being is we've got a new school approach to security awareness training. You'll notice here we've got the Inside Man season 4. Season 1 is actually on Amazon Prime. This is a soap opera. So your users between 8 and 14-minute episodes, they've grown with these characters after 4 seasons, and they actually learn and they listen, and it's engaging. We also have Restricted Intelligence, which is a sitcom similar to The Office, but they're short, sharp video modules. They're about 4 minutes, so you get to laugh and learn how to protect your organization. We've got cultural surveys, we've got assessments. So I'll show you some results of these as well. Spot the Fish, this is a game. Techies, younger generation, different people learn differently, and they need different styles of training. And we definitely offer that. We've got some videos, which are short, sharp, 2-minute modules as well. So if I just do a little bit of a filter here, we've got obviously artwork, newsletters, assessments, games, videos, traditional training modules. We do have them. You'll notice here there's one with Kevin Mitnick, that's 15 minutes. There's also a 45-minute one as well. But we're not asking your users to spend hours on security awareness training. They can watch a 2-minute video once a month, and they can learn how to actually change the security posture of their organization. We've got different topics. You'll notice whether it's CEO fraud or ransomware. JJ mentioned tailgating earlier on. So they'll actually, once we're all returning back into the office, they'll get to understand more about how to protect their organization, and not just from a phishing perspective. I want to actually show you an assessment, because the assessments are brilliant. What they do is they enable you to ask your staff members a number of questions. You'll get to understand what knowledge areas they need some additional training in, and then you can tailor training accordingly. So you don't just need to set this up and forget about it. You'll notice here, this particular fictitious account is in the red for social media, and they could certainly benefit from some additional training in mobile devices, security awareness, and passwords and authentication. So what you can do then is understand, okay, we definitely need some additional training on social media. It'll take you back to that mod store Netflix style. You can have a look at all the content, understand what's appropriate for your organization. This is restricted intelligence that I mentioned earlier. You can laugh and learn at the same time, add it to your library, and away you go. We'll add a game as well. So it's ever moving, and you can certainly change the training accordingly to what those results are in any of your surveys. In terms of the simulated phishing emails that we have over 12,000 different templates. Don't get overwhelmed by 12,000 because there's a whole bunch of categories. My favorite are reported phishes of the week. Every Tuesday I come in and there's new email templates here. These are real threats sent to our customers globally. We have then flipped them into a simulated campaign. You'll notice we use logos, there's domain spoofing, mailservice-google.com. These are real threats. We've flipped them into a campaign. We also have different categories. So if you're in different vertical markets, CPA, healthcare, whatever your vertical market may be, you can have a look at some of the templates for you. Obviously different languages for those in Asia Pacific or in Australia. There's brands in here that you'd recognize. There's Dan Murphy's, there's Officeworks. I'll have a look at this JB Hi-Fi one and just give you an indication of some of the templates that we have. So in this particular case, this simulated phishing email is going to give them a JB voucher. So if you think, you know what, my staff members are not that silly, they know that $1,000 JB is not necessarily something that, you know, will stick out at them. You can then change it to a $50 gift card voucher. You can certainly edit all of these. And then instead of it being in the 12,000 simulated phishing category, you hit save and they will be in your My Templates category. So there's certainly a variety of phishing emails. We recommend you start off at 1 and you work your way up to 5. JJ mentioned, I think the last phish prone percentage was around 4.8%. And you don't want to get to a 0 phish prone percentage because that means you're not increasing the difficulty level on the simulated phishing emails you're sending your users. You want to make sure that if they get a real threat, that they report it and they learn to identify it. So the whole aim of the platform is to certainly work your way up to a difficulty level. I just want to highlight some landing pages that we have. So know before, clearly if somebody clicks on an email that they shouldn't click on, then they can get taken to a 404 not found. They can also, you can take them to a, Rick Ashley video on YouTube and Rickroll them. But what I actually love is this is an opportunity for them to learn. So they've just clicked on something they shouldn't have clicked on. And then they get this PDF image, which highlights to them the red flags that they just missed. So, did you hover on the link? Did it take you to where it said it was going to take you? So not only are they learning from our new school approach to security awareness training, they can also learn at the time that they click on an email that they shouldn't have clicked on. We also have advanced reporting. There's obviously reporting throughout the whole platform, but in terms of users, you can schedule reports, you can give department managers reports. So if we just look at finance in this fictitious account, you'll notice their group risk score is trending down. So we know that the platform's working. We know that their phish prone percentage is also going down. So they are learning. We've got here the top 5 clicked emails. So we can see they might be doing really well on the work-related content, but looks like some of the social media emails that they're clicking on. So it may be an opportunity to give them some additional training there. How are they going on the simulated? How are they going on the training? What have they completed? You can generate this as a PDF. Most importantly, you can also schedule it. So you can schedule reports, you can send them internally, monthly, quarterly. It's pretty much set and forget. Just want to highlight lastly, before I hand back over, our dashboard. This really highlights to you that your risk score in your organization's going down based on all the training and the simulated phishing emails that are being sent. you know that you're actually changing that security posture of your organization and the culture is changing and it's working. I'm going to hand over back to Ed.
All right. Thank you very much, Julie and JJ, for your informative sessions. That was really, really good. Now, I just have we'll go into the Q&A now. So we have a question here for Julie. Do you have to create staff profiles manually, or is there integration with things like Azure AD?
Absolutely. So it syncs every 6 hours with Active Directory integration and every 40 minutes with Skim for Azure.
Fantastic. So very easy to keep all the users in sync then.
Yeah, you can set and forget.
Yeah. All right. Now, don't forget to type your messages or your questions into the Q&A chat box. Just while we're waiting for some more, I'll just ask JJ, what are the most common questions that you get asked following a presentation like that?
Yeah, does it clear the throat? Usually it's how long does all that take? And from my personal experience, when I did this before I joined KnowBe4, I took 3 months in that first part of developing a project and doing the research and highlighting all the things that were required. And the last probably month of that was engaging the organisation to find out information from them. And then there's that month to do the actual launch preparation of getting everything ready to press the button to send all of the stuff out to people. And that was just me doing it. Now, in some organisations, if you can get more people in, it can be a lot easier, but it really is a project. So that's one of the biggest things I get is, can't we just launch it and go? What you can, you'll hit roadblocks and people saying, how my people can't do training. For an example, if you have a sales group or a business unit of sales and you're asking for 15 minutes, just a month, 15 minutes of training from them, you've got 100 salespeople. That's a lot of downtime in productivity of sales. So they will need some target adjustments because of that. So it's those type of things that you need a holistic approach from a business perspective to make something like this work. It's not just about training. That's why our platform has such great set and forget, and everything is there for you. We have a great option in there called ASAP, where you can type in all of your milestones after you've done that work. It will tell you, here's the things you do. Here's some emails that you can copy and paste and edit. So whilst, yes, you can still use your brain, there's a whole lot of support that the KnowBe4 platform has back then that really made the decision easy for me, because I thought, wow, it's going to save me hours and weeks of time. I don't have to recreate the wheel that's already here. I could focus on engagement and getting people on board to do it. So that's the main question that I get, Ed.
All right, fantastic. No other question yet. I just thought it'd be probably worth mentioning just there's different operating models as well. I guess after you've gone through the project and you're in more of an operational state where you might have somebody who's responsible for this in-house, or you could have a service provider such as ourselves that could operate the platform on your behalf and be reporting the progress and scheduling the activities as they need to go through. So it's not necessarily all a burden inside the organisation if they don't have the appetite or the capacity to be able to deliver that.
Absolutely. And it is actually a challenge, Ed, for people to do that. So I'm in a rare situation of my skill set. Most people will need someone like Turnkey to say, can you help us with this? Because we've got all the other things to do, and how do we don't have resources for all of this. So yes, don't think it's too much. To have someone working with you on it can make all the difference for your own success. Fantastic.
Okay. Well, that just about brings us to the wrap up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the free phishing test, the URL, I'll put that in the chat now to everybody. And there's the link. You should all be able to see it. So if you click here, it will take you to the landing page. It'll explain you just need to register, and then you can send a simulated phishing email to up to 100 people in your organisation, and then we'll send you back a report on how did they do. So you'll get a bit of an insight into what's your level of maturity of your users in this area. And as JJ mentioned, she's working on a workbook for cybersecurity awareness. It should be finished sometime in the coming days or couple of weeks. Please get in touch with me at my email address on the screen there, ed.davis@turnkeyconsulting.com, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of the workbook. And we'll also send the recording of the webinar out to all of you who've attended today. So I think that brings us to the end. Thank you very much once again, Jacqueline and Julie, for your support. And have a great day. We'll speak to you next time.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.